गगन सदृशं तत्त्वम् अस्यादिलक्ष्यम् एकं नित्यं विमलम् अचलं सर्वदि साक्षिभूतम् भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि सद्गुरुं तं नमामि सद्गुरुं तं नमामि. Dangerous to give me a mic and ask me to speak about Baba. There's a problem to start because I don't know where to start in this divine phenomena. Once you get started, it's difficult to stop. So please raise your hands, all of you, if you know the time is up. Wouldn't mind a bit. Because such is this amazing phenomenon, as I call it. People ask me, why don't you call him an avatar or a god? And I say, I don't know what an avatar is. I don't know what a god is. How can I label him as one? But I do know that he's something far beyond my understanding. And I hope to convey some of that what I experienced during the 15 years of my stay in his divine presence. I hope to convey some of that to you in this next 90 minutes or so. When I went to Baba, I was this age, the age of these youngsters who spoke. By the way, I think they deserve one special round of applause. Maya and I don't have kids, but all of them came up and we all thought it was, each one of them, we felt like they were our children because we really, literally have seen them grow in this center from very, very tiny. I remember Raghav and Vedanta finally heard him speak. And you give him the mic, he speaks, otherwise you rarely get him to speak. And Siddhant, and when I spoke to the SSC children a couple of weeks ago, I said I spoke to a group, like I think I spoke to you all around the same time, SSC Group 3 or something. And so it's a matter of pride to see youngsters coming and falling in line, I would say, with the ancestors of the civilization. That's where we come from. This civilization that with so many thousands of years old, which most of us are, part of us have this enough blood to seek divinity, whether we like it or not, whether we know it or not, whether we believe in it or not. There is something within us that drives us towards that. Because thousands and thousands of years ago, the whole purpose of life was completely different. It was not to make a career, not to make money, not to say how successful I am. The purpose of life was to find out who I am. What is my role here? What am I doing in this creation? And that alone drove these seers and sages, as we now call them. The wonderful chant that most of you all did here, the Rudram chant. All those were to tune in directly to the cosmic energies, to tune in a wholly different way of education. There was a whole different pattern of learning. There's a whole different dimension to approaching reality and to knowing who are you truly and how do you use that knowledge to carry on your everyday life. To me, when I went to Baba, none of all this was very foreign to me. I was born and raised in Bombay. I was a big fan of Amitabh Bachchan. I still am. And I thought I would go and join the Film Institute in Pune. So that was my passion at that time, my dream. I wanted to be a comedian. Look at my height and looks, I wouldn't have been a hero. But I could have, I think, survived as a comedian. So that was my aim, and of course my whole family thought I was a black sheep. You can't talk, especially a Brahmin South Indian family, if you want to go to a movie or join the film, you know what will happen. I was in deep trouble already. Anyway, so that was my background, very shortly. And so, for me to come from there and join Baba's college is a long story, but make it very short, because I want to focus on what Baba stands for and how he inspired me, what made me stay there for 15 years. My father got transferred from Bombay to a remote village in Haryana. There was no colleges. And so they said, what will we do with this guy now? We have to find him a place. Because those days, I'm talking in late 70s, you didn't have residential colleges. Now you have dime a dozen. But you didn't have residential colleges. There was only one or two, and I know there was one Swami Vivekananda college in Chennai, but they needed high-grade marks, which I was nowhere close to getting. So that was ruled out. So while discussion was going on, we got to know, our family got to know that Sai Baba is starting a college in Puttaparthi, and I could go there. The first reaction was no. Because we are a very orthodox South Indian Brahmin. We believe in Shiva, Parvati, Ganesha, and his brother Subramanya. Now, looking at Baba with his crown of hair and a jazzy silk robe standing next to the pens, an orthodox Brahmin will say, nah, he's nothing to do with spirituality. By the way, there's a great lesson to that. I see a lot of young faces, and I want to come to that in a bit. But so, that didn't gel with my family at all. My father said, no, we don't want you to go to all the Sai Baba and all that. We'll find some other college. But then he got to know it's free education. It's amazing how Baba opened the doors to everyone. He made it difficult for somebody to say no. And that's exactly my father said, oh, it's free, then go. So that's what brought me to Baba. But when I saw him, and then when weeks turned into months and years, I'm writing about it, so someday soon you'll read more in detail. But I want to come to a point where a year and a half in my stay in Puttaparthi, I saw him give darshan to devotees, I saw everybody touch his feet, and I was also touching his feet. You just do what the crowd does. But internally, I had not made that connection. I wanted my Swami. Where is my Swami in this? He's the Baba. But does he know me? Where is that connection? Where I get my Guru to guide. I wanted that one-on-one with Swami. And one thing led to the other, and one fine day, he picked me up for an interview. I was there in his room, alone for the very first time, hardly daring to speak a word, because this is close encounter of the fourth kind, I guess. So close for the very first time, and he said, "Kya mangta hai? What do you want?" I said, "Nothing, Swami," more out of fear than anything else. I said, "No, nothing." And then I said, "Bolo, kya mangta hai?" He tried Hindi, and then he said Tamil, he tried English. Enna one of kya mangta hai? What do you want? All that so much. Literally, I was cornered into the really small room. And then the first thing that came to my mind was, of course, my parents, now that they knew I was with Baba, they had a laundry list to sort out. And one of them, topping the laundry list was, "Hey, your sister has been married for 11 years, they've not had a kid, so ask Baba about it." I was like, I'm the last person to get up in the middle and say, "Baba, my sister is not having a baby, what should she do?" I found that the most embarrassing thing. Even back in those days, not now. Now it'll be even worse. But, so I said, that is not going to be, I'm not going to do that. Also, that 1.5 years of what I saw Baba was, he was so giving to people that me with my little problem seemed very petty. So I've always thought, why trouble him with some small little problem? How is he going to resolve this problem? I could never see the connection. Because I hadn't had that chance to experience his omniscience or omnipotence. I hadn't that. I hadn't experienced that. I heard stories about that. And I said, even if a fraction of that is true, my life will change, but I need that experience. And there's a point here, it's very important for us not to live in the spiritual path, especially not to live on borrowed faith. My parents' faith cannot be my faith. My brother's faith cannot be my faith. My friend's faith cannot be my faith. But it doesn't mean I have to ridicule his faith or their faith. The point is I have to search for my own faith. What is my pillar? What is the anchor that is going to support me in my troubled times? Which is going to inspire me during moments when I feel alone. I need to find that. And all of us need to find that. That, I think, is a true call in spirituality. We can listen to some stories like I'm telling you. I can share my inspiration with you. That is all I do. But I cannot try and influence you or convince you about Baba's divinity. I'm only merely trying to share what I experienced with him. You carry that, you relate it to your own experience, and then find that. Make that call within. Baba would always say, you all have a hotline connection with me. Discover that. Make that call. And once you hear my voice, then you will never doubt. Then you will know this is my path. So, and he says all forms are mine, all names are mine. So it really doesn't matter. What matters is we all need an anchor around which our life revolves. We need that strong spiritual anchor that is there in our DNA. That's what we are here for. We are here again and again. We take birth again and again only because we are searching for that something. And that something is our true identity. And that true identity can be sought with the help of some teacher, some guru, who helps us lead us into ourselves. And that's the role of Bhagavan, in my opinion. That's the role of a Sadguru, leading you to yourself, to within you. And so, for me, I needed that. And so, asking Swami some petty things didn't make sense to me. But in that room, at that moment, little did I know, in his master plan, he's got me, he wanted my family to come too, because they were very ardent devotees of Lord Muruga and Lord Shiva. They were very ardent. My father would cry at the name of Muruga, and my mother too. She would sing. And so they had, all my weekends, just like you spent here in the center, not that that's bad, but all my weekends are spent in pujas and those 3 hours, 4 hours pujas. I could count on my fingertips how many movies I saw in my childhood. One was Hathi Mere Saathi, because there was Ganesha and elephants. Otherwise I would have been allowed. And somehow I convinced my dad that I need to see Sholay. So those are the 2 movies I remember. But that's how it was. It was completely a very spiritual life. And I don't regret it at this point, because I feel the strong foundation that was given somehow connected me to Baba. I see that connection now. I didn't realize it at that point. And so Baba wanted to open the door for the rest of my family to come in. I didn't realize at that moment, but he is there cornering in the room, bolte kya mangta hai, kya mangta hai. And then this thought came to me that my mother has been constantly pestering me with the letters, ask Baba about your sister. And I said, Swami, my sister. That's all I had to say. That was my first experience of his omniscience, which was quickly followed with his omnipotence. As his omniscience, I just said, Swami, my sister. And he said, your sister. 11 years, no baby. And your mother, Ayyo Muruga, Ayyo Muruga. He literally, I'm not kidding, exactly. He said, Ayyo Muruga, I'm crying home. Everybody tension, this test, that test, all the tests, nothing fit. Don't worry. Baba gave Prasad, in 8 months, baby boy. I was like, what? Wait a minute. First of all, it was just too fast, too many things happening. One is, how did he know all this? I didn't write to him, I've not told him, I've not even mentioned, I just said, my sister. He waited for me to open my mouth, and boom, 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 he went on, non-stop, as if he just had to, oh, thank God you started it for me. And so, he just went non-stop. And then, he not only ended this saying, my blessings are there in the near future, he kind of made it so specific that I was almost at the point of, please, this can't go wrong. If it goes wrong, then my faith is just dwindling at this point. I'm trying to find, when you're new to Baba, every little thing matters. And so you don't want something to go wrong. But he helps you. That kindergarten stage really helps you. So here was, and he said, 8 months, baby boy. So later on, my mind is going, 8 months, should it be 9 months or something? What is this 8 months? I don't know, what is this 8 months? And what is this boy? What if it's a girl? So all this is confusing me, but he didn't let me think. What do you want? He said, what do you want? I said, Swami, I want to be in your room. That was my secret desire. For me to find out exactly who Swami was, I wanted that first-hand experience. Because I would ask those people who would constantly go into his room, come out and say, what is his room like? What does he sit on? Does he have a TV in his room? He has an air conditioner in his room? How big is his bed? I want to know everything. But they would be like, oh no, it's okay, sit down, they'll walk away, and that got me more curious. I'm like, why can't you tell me what is in his room? And so I always had this cherished the secret desire, though I thought it was like so far-fetched. What is this? I'm like one guy, and there's 5,000, 10,000 people around him all the time, even in those days. There's no chance of me even getting there. So late in the night, of course, those days the dorm was not ready yet, so we stayed in the ashram itself. This is the very first year of Baba's college starting in Puttaparthi. We were the very first batch. So we literally stayed in the ashram. And so after the darshan and everything is over, Baba's room light will be on. I'll be standing in a corner looking and say, someday I have to be there. I just want to know what he's doing at this point. Not out of audacity, but just out of curiosity, yes, but very sincere curiosity. Because I wanted to believe in it. I wanted to anchor my faith in him because I liked what he did. I liked the way he was so approachable. I liked his looks. He was not a traditional sannyasi. He was not insisting on any rituals and all that stuff, but he was very, very true in the essence of Vedanta. He spoke of Advaita, which was very nice. Whatever he's taught us, man is God, Manav Seva is Madhav Seva, service to man is service to God. There is only one religion, religion of love. All these teachings really went home. It gelled with my thinking. And I said, this is the person I want to be with, but I want to make sure who he is. I mean, if he's God, what is he doing up there? Why are people praising him so much? So this was on my mind. So when that afternoon when he cornered me, it just came out of my mouth. Literally, I wasn't thinking. If I was thinking, I wouldn't have asked that question. And I just said, Swami, I want to be in your room. Acha, kal se aao, come from tomorrow, he said. I was so thrilled that, what? I couldn't believe, Swami, kal se aao, come from tomorrow. I was so happy that I said, thank you, Swami, and I hugged him. And he said, hey, don't hug me, my hair, you're spoiling my hair. He pushed me away and set his hair. He said, tomorrow. And then he came out into the other room. Now we have another 20, 30 people around with the group interview. So now my mind is racing about my sister's thing. Now it started racing. What is this 8 months? What is this baby boy? And what is this? He says he's going to give prasad. So now it's going to be some fancy moving of the hand. I'm going to see that from close quarters, how he's going to materialize stuff. Because all this time, I didn't get that real close encounter yet. Even though I was a student, I was still among 150 other students. Now it's 1,000 students. Those days it was 150. Nevertheless, he spoke to everyone. The interview was getting over. He goes to his windowsill. He has a bag, a plastic bag with full of vibhuti packets in it. He would pick it up and distribute it to everybody, right, at the end of the interview. So he starts distributing the vibhuti packets to everybody. And I also put my hand out, but my mind is racing. What about my sister? You said you're going to give prasad. What about my sister? So he comes and gives the vibhuti packets in my hand too. And then I look up at him. He says, what? I said, prasad for my sister, Swami. He said, this is a prasad, send it. I looked at my hand, I looked at others' hand. I said, everybody's going to have a baby or what? Everybody asked for a baby. What is this? He's giving from the same basket. And at that moment, I decided this is not going to work. It's crazy. This is not going to work at all. What is this? I was expecting some. See, we always like to dramatize. The bigger the problem, the longer the problem, somehow it has to be dramatically ended. It can't be a simple ending. We don't like that. We want to cry and chant Sahasranama and do 10-day tapas and Pada Puja, and then we think only it is solved. A simple dream, no, I didn't even pray how good Swami solved it. I have to cry and pray and then it happens. So we believe in that drama. So I thought Swami is going to come and do a phenomenal manifestation and all. This is for your sister, take it, don't worry. And I was prepared for that, but this, just like from everybody, the same basket. Then Swami turned and went around, then he turned and said, give it to your sister. She has more faith than you, doubting Thomas. Doubting Thomas. Of course, he must have looked at the disbelief in my eyes. And so he finished everything, kept the windows, the basket back. He came to me right in front of me. He said, everybody, see these youngsters these days, always doubting. And he pulled up his sleeve all up to here, and right under my literally over my face, he rotated his hand. And then he closed it, and out came a beautiful silver pendant. He gave that to me. And he said, from now on, I am your Sarathi, your Sanatana Sarathi. So that was a poignant moment. I can never forget that moment, because that moment he established that he is going to take care of me. He was my guru, my charioteer. And because of his grace, I never had to look back. So what happens to my sister? Of course, 8 months later, she has a baby boy, pride of the family. His name was Karthik, and some strange reason he's here today. He's visiting us from India, and so that's Karthik. But girls, he's taken, he's married already. That is how I got an entry into Baba's room. So the next morning, I stood at 5 o'clock in the morning, and the ashram secretary, Mr. Kutumrao, comes out. He says, what are you doing here? I said, Baba has called me. He said, what? He said, yeah, he called me, I can go up. Then he just shook his head and went away. And then my warden came. He said, what are you doing here? I said, Swami told I can come to his room. I don't know what to do. I just came and stood here early morning. I said, 4:45, 5. And he says, really? I said, yes, in the interview room yesterday he told me. He said, okay, wait, I'll ask Swami. So he went up, and then he came back and he said, yeah, Swami told you to come inside. And the very first time I went in, and there was a curved staircase, going up, spiral staircase. I went up very gingerly, and there was Swami sitting on his chair. I went and touched his feet. He said, hey, be disciplined, don't talk to anyone. And I said, yes, Swami. I was too excited for words. That was my first moment in Swami's room, upstairs. And then that continued for many, many months. And during those months is what I saw, and if somebody asked me what was that moment you knew he was divine or he was your, I said there is no really one moment that I can put my finger on, one day, but it happened so subtly, so slowly, so softly, so gently, that even before I knew, I was completely into him. So it was curiosity that led to adoration, adoration led to devotion, love, and ultimately a sense of surrender. And you know what? He knows. He's got his hand over you. He's holding you. Let him run your life for you. So in order to come to that, it wasn't a one-day thing. It wasn't like one incident. It was a series of incidents. But then what inspired me most were my very, very first impressions of Baba. You know, when you all see Baba, when most of us see Baba on the outside, you see him wearing a flashy robe, and he's sitting on a throne, he drops a handkerchief when people dive to pick it up, he hardly has to bend down. He's like a king, you know, walks and he literally glides as he walks past with people clearing the way for him. And you would get the impression, okay, if he's so, you know, living in such a fancy lifestyle out here, what would be upstairs? It would be even more better. But it's exactly the opposite. Upstairs, there's a chair barely a little more cushioned than this chair. I don't know what's behind that though. But you know, a single sofa, not a recliner, okay? A single straight back sofa, one ceiling fan, and that's it. That's his living room, which is about 10 feet by 12 feet in size. Stone walls all around, 2 wooden windows. I say wooden because they're made of 4 panels each, and all the panels are wood. There's no glass. It's not see-through or anything. It's hard wood. And 3 of them are closed. 1 is open, and that's covered by mosquito mesh, so there's barely any light coming in. There's 200-watt bulbs or 260-watt bulbs burning in one corner that lights up the room. 1 ceiling fan. That's it. The place is otherwise with cardboard boxes. A lot of cardboard boxes. Boxes which devotees have given, donated, you would keep them there. And then the rest of the mandir was also full of boxes because devotees are constantly sending in something. And like later on I got to know, first I wondered, why would he keep it in his room? Why can't he just send it off to a storage place somewhere? And then one of the elder devotees, he said, see, when my children send me something, I keep it next to me at least for some time, out of love. So Baba is exactly like that. He says, these are my devotees who sent to me. So he's very possessive about that. He wants to keep it with them, and he shows it off to others. See what they've sent. See, African devotees have sent this, or people from Africa have sent this, people from New Delhi have sent this. And with pride, like a father shows off from what his children are sending him. It's out of pride, he keeps it all next to him, and then when time comes, he says, okay, now give away this, make room for some more. It's always in his room. His rooms are like storehouse, a storage place. But neat, very neat though, okay? Boxes will be kept, and our job will be to order boxes or open them, show what is inside, and Swami will say, okay, give this away, give that away, and that kind of stuff. We were like the servants in the house, running around, cleaning, mopping the floor, cleaning up his bathroom, and all that stuff. So what impressed me most, the first thing was the simplicity. The simplicity in Swami's life. You know, I want to share, during these talks, I want to share these with the help of some songs as well, because what I want to share here is the concept of Bhaja Govindam that we have heard of. Bhaja Govindam was composed by Adi Shankara many thousands of years ago, he and his disciples. Swami's loved these verses of bhajan, and the ones I'm going to sing are his favorite verses. We did a play with these verses at some point in the mid-80s, and Baba loved it so much, he sat with two or three of us and went through the whole script, and we sat and wrote it together literally. And then he would explain the inner meaning, the significance, and we would bring that out into the play. And little did we realize at that point is actually through that play and through that interaction, he's sharing with us the most profound truths that is hidden in those verses of Bhaj Govindam. So the first thing that Baba's personality touched my heart was his simplicity. In other words, the discipline that he had in his life was amazing. You know, when Baba talks of discipline, we are all disciplined here at this point. We start on time. We don't when we have bhajans, we don't stand up and dance and all that. Not that it's bad or good, I don't know. But in Baba's center, we don't do that. Because there is discipline, you know. In everything there's discipline, even thousands of miles away. Why? Because he embodied that. When we were all youngsters, we were all there in the hostel, and 150 youngsters grew to 300, 500, 700, thousands of youngsters in the campus. You wouldn't hear any violence or any riots or anything. Our wildest thing was if we laugh out loud, that'd be really going wild. Seriously. We were that disciplined. But that discipline came not because there was somebody monitoring you, but that was the energy in the ashram. You know, when Baba would step out into the crowd, and you would see this, you would have to be that experience it, because you wouldn't see this or experience that through a video. But when he steps out into the crowd of 20, 30,000 people gathered there are no volunteers there standing and saying, Baba is coming, quiet please, Shanti, Shanti Rakho, Baba are re, no such thing. Nobody needs to inform. And how big is Baba? 5 foot, 5 inches maybe, just my height, or maybe a little shorter than me perhaps, I don't know. But then he steps out, and then there's hush in the crowd. And thousands of people have been complete silence. All of them focused on that little form that will walk through that. That was amazing. That command. And I said, how could he command this energy from people? There was nothing magical about it. Baba later on himself said, when you truly are one in your thought, word, and deed, the energy that you emanate will give you everything that you want. So if I want discipline, I will be disciplined, because I am truly disciplined in my thought, in my word, in my deed. And Baba was so disciplined. So the first D that I learned from Swami, and if you can take something from this today's talk, I want you to take 6 Ds. I hope I can complete all 6 Ds. The first one is, how much time do I have? When do I start? 5:15? Okay. The first D is discipline. And discipline to me is not about a bunch of don't do this, don't do that. It's about learning to set core values in your life, and then to say, these are my core values, and I'm not going to budge from them. I'm going to explore them, I'm going to try to inculcate them into my life, and I'm going to stick to them no matter what. And the more I stick to them, the more I'm able to bring out the powers, the energy that's hidden within them. For example, Satya or Dharma. Satya is truth, so speak the truth. That's how my understanding at this point is. Alright, so let me try to speak the truth. And then I'll say, what is truth then? What I see is truth, what I think is true, what is true? Is the 5 senses giving me truth? So my idea of truth expands. So I can go on exploring this one concept of Satya and let my life revolve around Satya. My life revolve around right action. What is right action? Right action is based on circumstances, on culture, on even right action in the morning may not be right action in the evening, correct? So right action is, again, depends on individual, depends on the community, depends on your background, your civilization, your environment, culture, whatever. So once you've decided that these are my core values and I'm going to stick to it, you will be able to invoke that energy from within. And Baba said once, if you are truly determined in what you want to do, the universe will come and serve you and fulfill your purpose. The universe will come and serve you. And so that is the energy from that discipline. So when Baba was disciplined himself, he would get up at 3:45 or 4 in the morning. And because there is discipline in the ashram that no lights will be on after 9 until 6 in the morning, he will not put his own room lights on. His bedroom lights won't come on. So what does he do after getting up? He'll use a flashlight. To do his own chore, he'll get up, put the flashlight. It'll be one of those really big flashlights. You know, the ones that we also use as a security weapon. So those little heavy ones. Because I remember them because we used to